Yo, 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 yo.
Hey, yo, what's happening, man?
What's good, bro?
What's good? What's good? What's good, man? It's been a minute.
Yeah, definitely been a little while.
It's like a little hiatus.
Yeah. So, what's your opinion? Like, I kind of like the, dropping the pod every couple of weeks. I feel like that's less. I feel like
It
that's
def-
more reasonable.
it definitely allows more room for other things.
Yeah,
For other things to be done, for sure. I mean, life happens, so.
yeah. And then once you get on the board of like really promoting these joints, it allows more time to promote versus like promoting for a few days and then you already got to gear up for the next week's.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. So doing it by like just kind of thinking about how the schedule really goes, but just kind of being as consistent as we was before. I would miss that. That's just because I like to talk. I want to have conversations.
No, I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying? But
you could still have that routine. I'm just talking in the sense of like actually spacing out, dropping the content. Like we could have the same routine and recording it, and the things that we've been doing. But as far as like, I kind of like the every other Thursday thing.
I mean, that works. I'm still getting used to just being something on YouTube, so I don't know if that algorithm would hurt or not. But
I mean,
I mean, you know,
and if that's all that was being done, a little bit, but it also depends on what the algorithm is right now. If it's a big algorithm, if it's open, you know.
I mean, at this point, it ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Yeah. So, um, I feel like the more that we progress through these, because I don't know what number we on now. It's 80 something, I think.
Your guess is better than mine. I haven't been there for that long.
Yeah. So, if I'm not mistaken, it's somewhere in the mid 80s, 83, 84, something like that. The higher the number gets, is like, you know,
But damn, now that I think about it, I think I was here for the anniversary when we hit 50. Has it really been 30 podcasts after that?
yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah. Because that was like late last year.
Wow, man, niggas been talking for a minute.
Yeah, I think that was around like what, Thanksgiving, Christmas, something somewhere in that window.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in that window. But yeah, so I did a TED Talks yesterday, and this yesterday from real time because by the time people hear this, it's not going to be yesterday no more. It'll be a few days ago.
Right.
And
Welcome back to TED Talks, by the way.
yeah, appreciate that. It's been a couple months since I done dropped a episode. I think somewhere around Valentine's Day.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so I got a new format, and I've done a couple of audio onlys. Anybody that's been hip to the TED Talks is like sit down interviews with entrepreneurs, models, comedians, rappers, whatever creative side you have to you. Sit down, talk about your life, and the conversation just goes from there. So yesterday we was doing one, and basically it was about your sexual awareness. At least that was one of the things that was discussed. So from that, when we're having this back and forth, it made me realize that like sex education was just taught like completely different to everybody.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're going to kind of get into today, and like how we were taught about sex, how you think you should have been taught about sex. Would things be better? Would things be worse if people would actually pay attention to what they was taught about sex? If they was taught about sex, were you taught by the right people, wrong people, all types of, knowledge that we were taught about the most sought after thing in the history of life besides money. I don't know. What do you think? Money, sex, which is
I think I will still have to give that.
slight edge to money.
Yeah,
You have to
still
think
give
about
that,
it.
still give that to money.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a debate though, right?
Certain people are starting to fall off. When I start to pay attention to certain content that I be seeing nowadays, man, it's starting to make me really think that it. I mean, obviously, it is more about the money, especially when it comes to talking to men and women. That's really the sole proprietor that is mentioned the most. Sex literally seems to be falling off sometimes when I be paying attention to certain conversations.
Think so?
Either that,
It's a big conduit for money.
I
I'll
mean,
give you
I don't
that.
know. People, it seems like people are really out here depriving themselves. But I mean, I would still definitely say it's money because money is needed first.
It's a good debate though.
It is.
Yeah, it's a debate. It is.
is.
Sex is in the ballpark.
And just now remembering, there are couples out there that never had sex before. But of course, you're going to need money. You need money to live. So that's definitely going to be first.
Yeah. So let's take a jump into the time machine. Take a trip down memory lane. And sex education. Now before I ask you the base question, first I'm gonna just touch on high school so we can go ahead and get this out the way because everybody pretty much gonna have the same answer. Were you taught sex education in high school?
Yes and no. So the type of teacher I had, it was kind of questionable. I mean, of course, we talked about the STDs and all this other stuff, but it was also kind of trying to prepare us of the possibilities of having a child as well. And shout outs to Mr. L. I ain't gonna put his whole name out there, but Mr. L. He was definitely a different type of teacher and he had different ways of getting his point across, which worked. It definitely worked, but and I'm not saying that in a harsh way. Like he had a sense of humor to him that like he was creative of how he was getting that message out there.
Okay.
But no, I originally started taking sex ed in elementary.
Damn. They had that at elementary school?
5th or 6th grade.
What school you going to?
William Paker.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
Yeah, William Paker Elementary on Sheriff Road.
Oh, close.
Yeah.
All right. So, in elementary school, what were they telling you?
Of course, just the basics of like how the child is being conceived and everything. You know what's happening with the the biologicals of the body.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely in depth, but it wasn't just something that was just given to you. If I remember correctly, I believe that it was like you had to get permission from the parents for it because it was just like, you the consent was given like you can teach my child this, blah 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 blah. Now, to be honest with you, the first time I had a chance to take it, I believe it was 5th grade, and I didn't talk to my parents about it.
Okay.
That's just the type of connection I had with my parents, so it's just like something it was kind of skipped, but I believe it was brought up to them by me or either by the school, because I think it was something that really kind of needed to be done or be taught.
Mm-hmm.
And because I believe it mattered to the grade and health class.
Okay.
So there was that. It basically became mandatory at a point. And so they were just like, yeah, hey, why haven't you taken this class or whatever? And I'm just like, I didn't talk to you guys about it or whatever. He was like, well, you need to know. So, it was either, I would have to say it probably was 6th grade, that it was definitely taken at that point. Like,
Okay.
it's part of the grade. If I want to graduate or whatever, I mean, it mattered, so I took it. Obviously, I wasn't sexually active then because I
would hope not.
wasn't so curious as to what was going on. I was just like,
So when they told your parents about it, since this is super early on, did this spawn like the birds and the bees talk or?
No. Actually, there was a conversation that was taken out of context, and it got back to moms. I forgot how old I was, but I think I was either a preteen or in the beginning stages of becoming a teen. Well, that is the beginning stages, or like just becoming a teenager, whatever the case may be. I can't remember. I was young, and So she basically came to me about that conversation, and so there was explanations about it, but at the same time she was just like, yeah, I want to bring some type of awareness, which was it was cut and dry and short. I think it was I do believe I was kind of dismissive about it, because of just like the type of connection I was having with my mom. At a certain point, at a certain age, I became more of an avoidant child. It was just like, all right, like I'm growing apart from you,
Okay.
type of thing. You know how teenagers would be or whatever once you get a certain age. Um, but the conversation just randomly came up. It wasn't, and it was not really in much detail. It was just specifically to that situation. So that happened, but then it was just like, all right, whatever. And see, the thing is, like life, as everything else for me in my life, life taught me about more stuff
Okay.
than what came from the household, which, I mean, I wouldn't really change. The only thing that if I was to change it, it was just typically because of the connection I would like to have had more with my parents. But I wouldn't change it simply because how I see it is they can tell you whatever it is they want to tell you. It's one thing to be told this, but sometimes you really got to go ahead and do your own research as well to feel more educated and inclined on the information that's given to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And even then, to some people, that's still not enough. Chances is you gotta go through it to really know. God forbid that you have to go through one of the real hard stuff, like, catching something and all that or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I hope not.
But, yeah, like, I wouldn't have changed that really because, at this point, I don't even think they were really aware, or maybe they was, and they were just discreet about knowing it. But I was out there. Not like being a hoe, but I definitely was sexually curious at a certain point and got active here and there. And, yeah, but just things that I seen on TV or whatever, which, I mean, I was able to tell the difference between the nonsense and the shit that was real.
Yeah.
Obviously, so that's one thing that was given to me was, to be able to use my common sense. But then I just got curious about other stuff, and then, like, the further I went in that journey, the more stuff I decided to want to pick up on and learn myself. So I started researching. Like, curiosity was the best. That's when the curiosity was a benefit for me.
Okay.
So,
I think for me, I didn't even school wise, I didn't even know about sex education until high school. But like you said, life, that was something completely different. As an outside kid in the urban setting, the age groups are always like mashed up depending on where you at. So because we spend a lot of time at the basketball court, it's like all types of different age groups. So while I think I was about 10, while I am 10 years old, there's 15-year-olds up here, 20-year-olds, 30, you know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
And they're not going to separate people into age groups. Like, they're not going to be like, yo, y'all too young, go over there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If they was like smoking or something like that, then they probably would do that. But on regular days where they just talking,
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't do that. So you could just kind of like hear like these stories, like I was with Shorty last night, and this. So it's like the sexual curiosity is kind of just like thrust upon you from stories,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd be like, damn, what the hell is sex? You know what I'm saying? Like, like I gotta see what they making it seem like this. All right, I gotta see what that is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I remember it's crazy when you think back to like your innocent self. And it's like I remember thinking like not all kids, but most kids probably thought that sex was you just was humping. you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it's like I'm humping my fake little girlfriend. Like, yeah, I'm having sex.
Man, Yeah, that definitely brought me back because I ain't gonna lie.
Er-
Like,
er-
I got so I attempted very, very early. I can't remember how old I was, but obviously I wasn't old enough.
right.
But yeah, like
But
there was this. I wouldn't even call her a girlfriend. It was just a girl that I knew that lived across the street from where I was, and we was just like, yeah,
yeah.
and so
And you just thought like you thought that
front porch, man. It was just
Yeah.
just drive.
And you think
just seeing this, I was like, what is that? I want to see it. And yeah, it was just shit.
Yeah.
It was just that happened.
Yeah, and then actually ended up running into a female, like eventually, and she's like, "Nah, we got to be naked to do this."
Right. And that's where it started at some point, because it was just like, yeah, take your clothes, like take this off or something, because it felt like it was like, yo, something else is missing, so you had to do this. That's weird though from my time frame, because back then it was just like it turned on, and then after a certain point it just turned off. It's like, all right, I kind of really don't care about this right now.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
At a certain age where you thought I would have grown even more curious, it was just like, man, fuck that shit. It was just like I just too busy about social things right now besides just sex. I mean, of course, I looked at girls or whatever, and like, dang, man, such and such and such and such, and she this old, and like, so you know how the phase is now when you sitting there like, I got to be careful who I try to talk to, because they might be young as hell, because it makes you ask the question, what the hell are they putting in this kid's food?
Right.
There was still some females
Yeah, we had those
at
too.
our age back then, and I'm talking about super developed.
Yeah,
like,
we had those too.
People would be like, whose mom is that? I'm like, no, she goes here.
Yeah.
And this was middle school. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, dog, like that's a student. That ain't somebody's mother. Because the way certain people was built, I dated a girl who was just like, yeah, people would be like, dog, like that had to be somebody's mom. Same age as me.
Yeah.
So, but around that point, it wasn't a must for me. You know,
Okay.
It was just like, it exists.
Hey.
And if I get it, cool. If not, I mean, I'm not really thinking about it.
Right. Yeah. Like for me, I was the same way until probably high school. And then because it's like when you talk to your friends about it, everything is like cool. But it's like once you start talking amongst the masses about it, then shit became like a competition. You know what I'm saying? And then now it's like, damn, he doing this. I gotta do this too. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, he said try this. Now I got, because you, like I said, we always looked up to our older counterparts. So even when I was first getting to high school in 9th grade, like a lot of our OGs had already graduated, but there was still some like left over in 12th and 11th and whatnot. And then just hearing them like, once you get my age, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that. And then us, we thinking like, I don't want to wait that long. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could do this type of shit now.
Now, when you say that, like, are you just talking about sex in general or different type of things to do?
Different type of things to do.
Yeah, but see, now, to me, that's just kind of like adding fuel to the fire to an extent. Because it's like you didn't even know certain things like that existed until they said that statement.
And that's,
wait a minute, that's a thing.
And that, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's our sex education. Like,
damn, like I thought we was doing the whole 9 yards before. Like,
yeah,
now
like it's just
like,
damn, it's something else. It's something else. Like it's something else. Like I remember, funny story, right? I think this was like towards the end of the year. I was in 9th grade, and I didn't know about eating pussy. So, mind you, I had sex a couple of times by this point, and so, like I said, one of the OGs, he was like, "Oh yeah, I heard you be messing with such and such. She like real small and petite. I know you be putting her up on your shoulders." And so I was like, "Why the fuck would I do that?" You know what I'm saying? And he was like, He's
Basically saying, man, what I would do if I was your size.
yeah, right. When you think back on it, yeah. So I'm like, why would I put a rub on my shoulders? Like that ain't sex, you know what I'm saying? So he's like, you ain't never eat that pussy. I was like, nah, I don't know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, he was like, oh man, you got a lot of little things to try, man. So I'm like, I hit her up. I had called her that night, and I was like, hey, you ever been up on somebody's shoulders before? And she was like, nah. And I was like, yeah, my big bro, he was telling me to like put you up on my shoulders and you know what I'm saying, do this and do that.
Hey, yo, just trying to imagine this conversation.
And this is literally probably like 90% of America. Like, you learning sex from he say, she say. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, that's how we just learned it. It wasn't because of the classes.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because of like,
I told you, yeah. Like it's most of the time you really don't pick up what's being put down until it's actually happening to
you. Yeah. And from stories of other people with experience. Like, Lord knows if we'd have had like the social media that we got now, and you had all this access to like, obviously it was porn back then, but could you imagine like you following porn stars and they tweeting every day? They, you know how they be tweeting. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that just opens my eye up to like how crazy it is for the generations behind us now, because
right,
that's the world that they're living.
They
in
have
now,
that, yeah.
So it's just like,
it's just like you order. I follow like a couple of porn stars on Twitter, and just to see what they say every single day, I'm like, yo, as a youngin', you could actually be programmed into this if you just keep saying that every day. Yeah, so but I will say this about this generation now. I do feel like they have more resources to learn.
Oh, they're gonna want to.
Yeah.
Like, especially from like TikTok TikTok, man.
Yeah. TikTok, I would tread lightly on TikTok because that's something you'll get sucked into. Yeah.
That's a anything type of grounds right there for real.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be very careful on there.
That's like, damn that. Well, I don't know entirely how TikTok really works because I don't have one, so I don't really fuck with it too much. Yeah. But I would assume that there is not that age advisory.
I don't think so.
The same age advisory like it would be on Twitter, because I would say like it's like Twitter before Twitter really started cracking down on it, but still, like when on Twitter, like, yeah, there's sensitive content that's about to be shown, or you this age or whatever, some shit like that.
Well, all you got to do is click
yeah, which really is just the bullshit thing. But it's just like, well, look, it's just basically, it's kind of like,
hey, we tried.
It's like saying the word disclosure on a YouTube video,
right?
So, but yeah, like I assume it's just like how Twitter was before that shit started happening.
Yeah, and it's just one. I will say TikTok is more balanced than probably Twitter, because Twitter, if you depend on the open algorithm from Twitter, they're going to show you a lot of porn. TikTok will just show you a bunch of fantasy females. And then if you get to liking these videos, then it's going to start feeding you more. They'll start to be less and less dressed. And then you'll occasionally start coming across the OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying?
Like, can you not hear the problem in that sentence just now? Like,
yeah,
it's starting to feed you more. It's brainwashing this program. Like feeding you more. But this is what you like. All right, I'm gonna give you this.
But it's on you. It's on you. That's why when I be scrolling the algorithm timeline on TikTok, I try not to like anything outside of like comedy stuff or short film stuff.
But see, you gotta be careful when you say. I mean, yes, it is on us, but sometimes like we really don't pay attention, or we don't know how much we need or don't need.
And that's true.
We'll feed a.
You got to fight. You got to fight though.
If
you got
for
to fight
example,
that.
if there was a drug or whatever, well, shit, fuck it. We'll say drinking. Oh man, it makes you feel good. You just keep doing it, and you be like, damn, bro, like I ain't paying attention to what my limit is. I just know it fucking feels good, so I'm gonna just keep consuming this shit.
Yeah,
We just
but
sometimes we don't know when to fucking stop or what we don't
eventually
need.
you're gonna have to realize like, damn, hold on, I got chills, huh?
Oh no, yeah, when, it's gonna force you to
Yeah,
stop.
yeah. So
That,
like
that part is gonna
yeah.
force you to stop, but there's shit that won't force you to stop. You don't know how far deep you are in until somebody has to pull it to your attention. Sometimes.
Yeah, I can get that. Well, I just know like on TikTok I got like some good self awareness. I can feel myself
You
like,
have to.
all right,
You have to.
let me slow down. But as a kid, learning about sex, you kind of like pushing, you kind of like egging on. Because it's like once you find out about one thing, now it's like, damn, what else can you do? Damn, what else can you do? Damn, you can do this. Man, why are you telling me to do this? You know what I'm saying?
If parents actually cared to continue to do this, and if it was super effective, if parental advisory was a stock market, bro, everybody be rich.
Think so.
Anybody who invested in that shit would be fucking rich.
I don't know. I don't have too many friends that learned like sex educate anything about sex can be classified as sex education, by the way. But I don't know too many friends that learn through their parents though. Do you feel like that's a problem? I feel like that's a problem.
Yeah,
Kinda.
yeah. Because the thing is, it's just like I don't know why. For one, that's not really being addressed. Some people, I guess, some parents are just uncomfortable.
Might be.
Others is just like it just don't happen. And then it kind of baffles me sometimes for those who do that, and then they'll get upset, like you doing this, you doing that, blah blah blah, X Y Z. I mean, yes, the world is the world, but at the same time, for parents to be so upset or have that part of their reaction, are you really taking the time out to actually talk to them about that?
Right.
Because the thing is, I just don't see the point of you being upset about them attempting to do something that you never took the time to speak of in the first place. You think that really is going to stop them from doing that? No, the world is out there.
Right.
Like, where do you think you live? Like,
Yeah.
come on now. And that's why some people say, well, yeah, that's why I send my daughter or my son to a private school and all that. It still fucking happens.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Shit. The worst part is, here's the thing. If you are particular about their preference, that's even more shit to worry about. Because if you just send them to a private school and it's all the same sex, it's still gonna happen. Chances is that they'll do it with the same sex.
Yeah.
They're gonna adapt. So have that conversation. Yes, I do feel that it is quite a problem to not have that conversation with somebody. And the thing is like it is part of I believe it's part of your civic duty as a parent to
Right.
really just do that shit. Like, you gotta prepare them. Anything that's not really being discussed, they can learn it the most difficult way, or there'll be a late bloomer because of that.
Right.
And so it's just gonna become a problem later on when it's time for them to really have known that.
Yeah.
Just get it out the way, just like be responsible enough to have that conversation, because you never know where they're going to get it from, or if they get it from somebody else off of the street, you don't want them to learn.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, that's the last thing you should want, like learning off the street.
Yeah, or even their first experience could be a very traumatic experience because they just didn't have no information about it.
Right.
Granted, it could still be a bothersome experience because the first time is not always the greatest time.
Yeah, that's true.
But not knowing having any education or information about it, and then it happening, that's a shock, and it's just like you don't know what to do. And now it's even more traumatic. And then now it's like I want to swear it off completely. Now, if you have information about it and you're just like, look, I'd rather not, religion or whatever the case may be,
Right.
and I'm gonna just swear it off, then that's you. But there's people who go through that traumatic experience and just like, yeah, it's fucking ruined for me for life.
Right.
I don't even want nobody to stand next to me because of
Right.
that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, the effects be diverse because somebody can be just like that, or they can turn into the ultimate sex machine. One thing, if parents if they choose not to talk about it, because at the end of the day, I guess you don't have to talk about it, but I feel
To
like
me, you do, man.
I mean, yeah,
It's helpful,
yeah,
bro. Like,
it will be super helpful. I feel like you should at least go over the basis of don't do it until you married.
like, come on now. Why would you not want to help your child be aware? Whoever it is that you're taking care of,
Yeah,
that is relying on information and teachings from you, why would you not want to prepare them and have them aware of stuff?
right.
Like, you, that's setting them up for failure to me. So it's just like,
Kind of like yeah, because it's the lack of education, and then if you are out here just wandering around, bad information going to find you. Like that's just society. You know what I mean? And even if you do run into like good information, the bad information is just more tempting. Especially once you get that curiosity. Once you get the curiosity, it's pretty much a wrap anyway. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because you're gonna keep pressing the issue.
you get to that age where you just have to find out for yourself.
Yeah, and then Lord knows if you like it. Oh yeah, this could be something I can add into the. You know what I'm saying? Like I could do this. You know, play some basketball. Try to give me a little honey or something. You know what I'm saying? So do you feel like? Because I'm curious. Because I went to two different elementary schools. I was super young, so I kind of vaguely remember my first one outside of like fourth grade. And when I first moved to Maryland, I went to Berkshire, the one that's closed up. I don't think we had anything other than I had two separate teachers. One of them taught like half of the classes, math, social studies, and history, and the other one taught like the other classes.
Like A Day, B Day, or
Nah, we had both of them in the same day. We just would go to one for like 3 hours and then go to the other one for like 3 hours. And then whoever was over here in the beginning of the day would go to this teacher at the
I
end.
think I experienced that at least 1 or 2 years in elementary school as well.
Yeah.
But then, of course, we ended up having to get used to going to whole bunch of different classes.
Yes, I never when I came to Maryland in 5th grade, I had one teacher that taught everything, and in 6th grade we had two teachers that we just went to for 3 hours and then overhit for 3 hours. Oh, and the third teacher was PE. I don't know if that counts. But we never discussed like anything health wise, sex education, anything out of the normal classes that you normally take in school. And in middle school, you kind of learned about it a little bit, but only through the basis of like science. When you're learning about DNA, you know what I'm saying? So it was from a scientific standpoint, not we gonna educate you about this. So when you get this, you know what I'm saying? Like that, I didn't get that till I took health in high school.
I'm trying to think if there was even a chance to learn that in middle school. Damn, I can't even remember my health class in middle school.
Yeah, I
In
don't
middle
know.
school, it was definitely some crazy years for me. Of course, I know we had science, and I think that's probably what it came up at. I don't
Okay.
know. But yeah, middle school, it was pretty dormant. Yeah, like I don't recall having like any chances of sexual education in middle school. So
It was just regular, like your regular classes, and then
yeah, I mean, of course, I think my memory's just fucking with me, but yeah, like
could be that too.
in elementary school, I'm kind of glad I learned it, that early on,
Yeah, I kind of feel
or
like
at least got the grazings of it.
I kind of feel like that's better because I feel like the younger you catch the kid, the more that they could be aware going into a situation. You know what I'm saying? And instead of, because basically what you're doing is you're just leaving the kid out to dry. And when you leave a kid out to dry, like it's almost no coming back from that situation.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like I especially feel for like a female standpoint because you know, as dudes, at least when we were younger, as dudes, it was kind of like you getting like you wanted to have sex with sport.
Yeah.
Females, it was more like they needed the emotional attachment. You know, you got to sweet talk them, and you got to, you know.
Well, back then, from my memory,
Hmm.
now middle, I mean not middle school, high school, of course, you know, because obviously the value of thyself and self talk happens,
Hmm.
but middle school and all that, like it was a bit of a hit and a miss. Like
Okay.
I know that there was some rambunctious females back then that was just like, yeah, like I gotta do it too, a notch on the belt. Like
Oh yeah. Okay.
I in middle school, I definitely the women or the females were just as much as of a hunters as the boys were.
Okay. Yeah. So we didn't have that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there was times like I gotta be careful what I say because you and Mike will let a nigga have it, bruh, and just be like, mm-hmm. But even then, like I have found myself supposedly being in relationships with certain girls and stuff like that, where it was just I was just kind of like, okay, but not really knowing how serious it was. Like I've got claimed and like so there's like a couple of females just like, yeah, yeah, man, we a thing, you my boo and all that, and I'm just like, oh, I kind of like, all right, you said that, and I'm going on with my day.
Right.
But then it was just like, nah, they was like serious. Then like, yeah, Shay was looking for you, blah 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 blah. And I was like, what? Why? And it was like, yeah, you know, y'all together. Like, of course you go look for you. I was just like, oh, so this is a thing. This really, you know,
Right.
yeah. Like I've definitely knew and seen women that's just like, yeah, I want you, and this is what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, if that was happening, I wasn't one of the recipients, or I had to be a hunter.
yeah. I was going. I witnessed that regardless, whether I was on the receiving end or just like I said, I just
All
seen
around.
I seen it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, I feel like sex education is probably benefits like the person being hunted more than it would benefit the hunter. Because if you're a hunter, I feel like you have a killer instinct,
We all do.
and I feel like whatever you tell me, if I'm already in the groove of things, I might not really. It's too late. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's why I say I like the idea, like catching kids in elementary school and just, you know, 5th grade, 6th grade. That sounds pretty decent. Obviously,
Well,
it's gonna.
I would definitely suggest that nowadays for sure.
Yeah, obviously, you're gonna force the kids to mature a little bit faster. But even when I think about when I was in 5th and 6th grade, we were some like mature kids. Like when I tell you when we played basketball and thinking about all the knowledge that we had playing basketball, like we wasn't regular 9 and 10 year olds. Like when I think back on, it, I'm like, yo, we was like pretty advanced. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we was definitely a different era back then,
Yeah.
and not really speaking down on the children now, because the children now are great. They're still great regardless.
Right. Right.
It's
right.
just the world that they're now living in, and who's guiding them for real, for real. But you ever notice when you like, have you ever like met a kid and be like, yo, like that's crazy, like your parent raised the hell out of you, man.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. Like, yo, you are so mature. Like I've actually
Yeah.
experienced kids, like I've met kids and children where I was just like, yo, like that's one hell of a kid right there.
Right.
And just thinking like that's probably like that's how we were on the norm back then.
Right.
But it's like it's so rare now because of what kids are getting into and what they care about so much because unfortunately that's what the adults that they're around care about.
Right. Right.
And that's what they just keep putting out. Like, so, you know, the only mature thing that I really see them really growing upon, if it wasn't the seemingly one in a million type of child that's like one hell of a kid, uh, the only mature thing dude you really see them do is ask about things that you feel or believe that they are too young to ask or talk about.
Right. Okay.
Like I have my friend's nephew is just like he'll ask me questions, and I like that he asks questions because he wants to know things. And like I said, like anytime that he's deprived of information, I feel it's a failure for him. So I always sometimes he'll say sorry, and I'm like I'll be thinking like don't be sorry for asking a question. That's the worst thing you could really do to a person in general is to try to get them to stop asking questions. They want to know.
Right.
They want to be educated.
Right.
So he'll ask questions, but there's some joints I'll be like, damn, bro, like, what is it that you experienced or that you've seen for a split second that makes you want to come and ask us this? You know what I'm saying? It just like I just can't help but be curious of that. But when it comes to like the whole sexual things and the dancing and twerking and all that, and I'm just like, sometimes I just be like, I'm either the parents gonna handle this or be like that shit is not cute.
Right.
Like I've seen little girls out there twerking and shit like that, and I'm just like, look at what you teaching your kid, because they're gonna grow up with that. The chances is they really with that, but also it's a chance that they might grow up and be like that as an adult, and that's gonna fuck them up. It's either they're gonna get taken advantage of or they're gonna get looked down upon because of the type of shit that they do. Because somebody's gonna grow beyond that and be like, "Dog, like the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna treat you like shit because that's what I perceive as like somebody who's being trashy or something like that.
Yeah, because that's what that's the disconnect. Because that's what dudes are like. You're like taught that, like you don't want no fast girl. If she dressing like that, she not right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like that's one thing I can say that's pretty much stuck the same throughout all the years is the way dudes thought process on females is pretty much still the same.
It's all about programming, bro, and not even just genetic programming, just programming in general.
Yeah,
because like the girl might not even be fast for real.
It's true.
Like she could be just like really wholesome. It's just that she's doing what she was taught because that's the environment. That's her form of having fun.
Right.
And it's like it's difficult because there's a whole bunch of layers that you got to go through before you get to that conclusion.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, you know, yeah, like even now, like for me, the times you will go out, either you're at the club or you're at even like family reunions and shit like that, and there's guys around or something, the females, they either do it amongst each other, not giving a fuck about the dudes, or if they see a dude or whatever, they want to, before even trying to break the ice and have a real conversation, they're dancing with each other, twerking and shit to draw attention. It's like, this is what I gotta do. It's fucking programming all the fucking time. And I'm like, and sometimes I'll be sitting there just seeing the shit. I'm like, why? Like I said, the era I grew up in and the stuff that I've been around, like I was a little more mature for my age then anyway, because I was hanging around people who were older than me.
Right.
But at the same time, as a kid, it was just like, bro, like back then, it was better and easier and more fun and enjoyable.
Okay.
Now it's like sometimes it could be confusing or like misleading because it's just like you're twerking, you're all out there. So somebody actually takes you for that, then you'll be like, nah, I don't want to deal with you. Like, nah. Even now, women are programmed to just like play those games. Like, I basically just wanted to find out if I got it. I've actually heard women say that out their mouth. I just wanted to see if I still got it.
Yeah, but dudes do that too, though.
Yeah, they do. I'm sure they do. You can't be like, ah, man, don't ever do that. Nah, I know they do.
Yeah.
But but then like drawing attention and just like, yeah, man, you know, like I got your attention. I brought you to me. Now get away from me. And then there's just the ones that just be like, all right, well, I just want to be out there. Yeah, you can have me, but I just want to be out there.
Okay.
And so that's where it just becomes misleading because you're in a whole bunch of shit that you really don't need to be in.
Which is true.
With that relationship.
Yeah.
So the programming is just really off, and now we really made it a thing for sure nowadays. That's why I really did feel like it was a super valid question to ask. Is it sex first and then money, or is it money first and then sex?
Yeah.
Like that's a legit question, because
it just because when I think about it, I'm like, all right, we need money to survive. But the average person, what do they spend their money on? Like, once you get past bills, what do people spend money on? Like, whatever they spend the money on, somehow, some way, it's tied into some form of trying to get or securing sex.
mm-hmm.
Whether it be clothes, we got the shoe heads. Obviously, some people out here really just love shoes. But most people, they like to dress nice in clothes and stuff because they know it attracts a certain, you know what I'm saying?
Facts. Damn, yeah,
So,
that's definitely deep.
yeah, like,
I mean, it's so simple, but it's deep.
and so it's like, obviously money is, it has to be the end all be all.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, it's couples out here that's not having sex at all, still got to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
It's people out here that, like you said, they done been sexually molested, so they not thinking about sex no more for the rest of their life.
It's just generally people just don't give a fuck about what you got. Like,
Right. But at the end of the day, unless you're just homeless, everybody got bills. Mm-hmm. So the money is going to be number one. All I'm saying is sex is like literally has to be like the next thing on the list.
There's people that's just out there even having sex for food. Not saying as in per se as
Yeah,
like
but that's true
being homeless, but it was like, look, man, you either giving me money, you gonna pay my bills, or shit, take me out to eat.
Yeah, that's very true.
Which, again, that's a whole bunch of confusion, because there are women that be like, yeah, man, you gonna have to give me something to eat, because if I'm gonna give you this, like, you gonna have to spend money on something.
Right.
And then there are the women who be like, oh, just because you took me out on a date to get something to eat, you think you gonna get some? Like,
yeah,
those two opposites there, man, it's fucking crazy. And then there's just the ones that were like, man, I can't be bought, especially for sex. What you think I'm a prostitute? What are you doing it for? Like, that's usually what's coming out of women's mouths nowadays. Is like, yeah, man, you got to spend money on something.
Nowadays we're kind of like in an era where I think people have heard the term politically correct so much that subconsciously,
politically correct ain't even politically correct anymore.
Like, subconsciously, they just gotta say what's right, even if they're gonna turn right around. Because we see people do it all the time. We talk about it all the time. Everybody's gonna say what's right, and then turn around and do the complete opposite when it comes to the actions. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that type of stuff really just has no. When female, it's to the point now. If I hear a female say something like that, I'm gonna assume the opposite anyway. I'm not that kind of girl. Like, I didn't say. First of all, I didn't say you were. Now that you done said that, are you just trying to hide it? Are you trying to, like, come off as not that type of girl, and then in another manipulative kind of way, be that girl? You know what I'm saying?
For me, unless you really going hard to prove a point, that's a conversation to be had. But to me, it's just like, all right, show me.
Yeah.
Like, fuck the talking and all that. I mean, we can talk, but at the same time, like, we ain't gonna keep doing the song and dance for hours. So it's just like, you gotta prove it. You gotta prove what you are, what you say, and how you carry yourself. And I the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, cut the bullshit.
Right. So, another like point in the topic when it comes to sex education that we talked about was that, and I kind of could agree with this, at least from a guy's perspective, is that if you are going to learn about sex and you are going to be out here having sex, like, you should definitely know how to please the opposite sex or the same sex if that's what you're into.
That way. And I definitely wanted to bring that up earlier in the conversation as well. But I try to figure out what would have been the proper time to be learning that. Like, to me, it would have been like high school.
Think so?
I mean, because
I feel like that should come later on. I feel like that should come later on.
I mean, now there are. I don't know what the stats are about children really. I know it happens, and probably, definitely, obviously more often than it should, but for it to be happening around middle school, I mean, of course, you're capable of getting pregnant by then or whatever, or even before then. But high school definitely is happening.
Okay.
So, it's just we're juvenile adults, if you will.
Yeah.
So now, it's not really the encouragement to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, again, having the information, because just like, being told about sex ed, like, doesn't mean necessarily that that's what the child is going to go out and do.
That's
true.
true.
Yeah, you're learning sex ed too early. No, I feel like it is helpful because, one, you're knowing information about it, but you're also knowing potential consequences and stuff, opposed to being exposed to it right then and there, possibly at that same age that you are trying to deny them getting that information. They could have learned it just by the experience itself and not know that there was the consequence of it happening.
Okay.
So there it is, life teaching you.
Right.
But when it comes to like high school, I mean, I think you're well aware, or you should be, and now you're in that environment, and of course the hormones absolutely do jump and this and that.
Yeah,
blah, 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 so shit
I feel like if you learn that in high school, I kind of feel like at that point you're pushing people to have, like, if I was to learn how to properly please a female, I feel like if you were single, that is,
I do believe at that point you do have the maturity.
You will probably want to run through females.
You will have the maturity enough to know what to do with that, though. You know what I'm saying?
Would you? That's high school. Would you?
I would believe so. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. There are definitely some mature high schoolers.
It is, but that's giving a high schooler a superpower. And me being mature without a power is different than having to be mature.
So here's the thing. What would you rather in this scenario? I don't want to say what sounds better, but what would you rather in this scenario? That chances is they're going to do it anyway and not know what they're doing, so it's a hurtful or traumatic experience.
Maybe.
From either male or the female. Other than, well, they still may do it anyway, but they know what they're doing. But then eventually they're still, chances is you can still make the decision that I'm not going to do this anymore, or at least until a certain age.
I just feel like if you give the kids the tools, that's like giving a kid too much. That's like, sex education is one thing. I feel like that's polishing the kid for sex. When, in essence, technically, kids shouldn't be having sex anyway.
They shouldn't.
So I
but
feel like
at that age, I do believe you're definitely at a point where you're like, I'm gonna do this or I'm not gonna do this. Like, that's why I say to a degree we're juvenile adults.
Yeah, I really feel like that should come like after high school. But then again, that's like the only place
they're gonna learn it from somewhere.
I'm about to say school is like the only place where you can actually, like, well, we didn't, but technically you're supposed to actually be able to learn, because after high school, if you're not going to college, well, so your job's not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, if your parents haven't taught you this up until the point where you graduated high school, I don't think they're gonna. Well, they might. Some people might, but I don't think they're gonna sit you down at 18 or 19 and be like, "Yo, this is how you please your significant other. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't. First of all, I don't think
big
that's
out,
spoken about enough.
big outs to those parents that actually do have that conversation.
I wonder
because it's just like, first and foremost, that's if your parents even know what they're doing, or if they need to if they need to upgrade their arsenal a little bit.
Cause so and so many things, like it's so many variables. So it's like,
but at the same time, I do believe, honestly, that is a very sentimental thing between the people that are doing it.
yeah,
You got to discuss what works for you amongst the two that are actually doing it. So, and that does build a bond. Opposed to, really, honestly, I don't really see parents doing that. It's a very few parents that will have that conversation with their child.
Mm-hmm.
But you're learning it from the streets and your friends. Oh man, you gotta do this and you gotta do that.
That's not good. That's not
you
good.
learning from your friends.
Yeah, that's not good.
If you ain't learning by yourself or from porn or whatever, you learning from your friends.
Yeah.
So
you're not opposed to learning from porn.
I mean, and
that was brought up as well.
I'm not opposed to learning
from porn, because I was explaining how a lot of people did watch porn, but
when it comes to that, the only thing that I've learned is that there's different kinks and then different positions in anything. But otherwise than that, I didn't take that seriously.
And that's what I was saying, because I'm like, porn is not meant to educate us; it's entertainment. Like when they're making porns, they're not making porns to be like, all right, we're gonna teach people how to have sex. Like no, like
to me, it's a very small chance that they're actually enjoying it.
Yeah, it's entertainment. Like it's females, whether females be fake moaning, really moaning, some don't be moaning at all. You know what I'm saying? So
and that's why I put the contrast between people who are in OnlyFans and those who were doing it like before that, because OnlyFans to me is just like you're doing it to comfort yourself. Like you actually want to do this. Like you already got set up with the people you would normally do this with anyway. Opposed to back then, oh well, man, you got such and such Johnny Stromboli the fuck today. Damn him. All right, you know.
I don't think it was like. You probably signed a contract, so you know who you about to have sex with. You
just show up. But at the same time, it's just like you're like, I don't want to do it, but I got to. It's business. You know what I'm saying? Opposed to OnlyFans, you got more freedom than choice and such. You know.
You probably could. You probably a little. I bet you the top tier porn stars probably had a little bit more freedom. If you was breaking into the business, you probably had.
Well, now I would believe now because now you learn the game.
Well, back then, you don't think Pinky got to decide who she was going? Nah, I'm having.
Well, now she's made more of a name for herself because now she's actually bringing in porn stars to her shit.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm talking about like back then at the height of her career. I'm quite sure she had say so and like, yeah, I can mess with him. Nah, I don't want to mess with him.
You can do that. You always have the option to do that.
Yeah.
It's just you're also going to have to turn away the money or whatever. Because
that's what it comes down to.
And that's what I definitely learned back then for, porn back then it was definitely difficult for the black women. It was definitely difficult.
Difficult for everybody.
Because, one, it was just like they weren't, I guess it wasn't really respected enough for the money or what the numbers was looking like in the first place. It was just like you lowball on them and shit like that or whatever. And it was amongst other things.
Yeah, I wouldn't say from my understanding of how like the stuff type like works is like I wouldn't say it was lowballing. I would say like they get paid a base price, and then based on sales and revenue, you get paid.
Man, I believe it's just like they was getting the fuck over, kind of like how black wrestlers was trying to come up back then. You know how people was just trying to fuck them over. The numbers wasn't right or whatever. Or shit.
Yeah, but
I've even heard there was wrestlers out there that was like wrestling for $20 just to get pizza.
Yeah, and that's true. But at the end of the day, it's like
I just try to put it in a scenario there.
Yeah, if you're bringing in, if you're gonna get paid a base price, that kind of stuff like porn and wrestling, that's like it's a salary, but it's also commission. If you're the main person selling out arenas, you're gonna be getting the most money out of everybody. You selling the merchandise, you're gonna get the most money. Like if I'm opening up the show and you main eventing the show, we're not going to be getting paid the same amount of money, even though we're on the same show. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing like with porn. Like if it's a female that they used to do DVDs. We was in high school, they had like DVDs and shit. You might not recognize the first girl on the DVD. But once you get like halfway through and you start seeing like a Roxy Reynolds or a Cherokee or a Pink, now like, all right, these the heavy hitters. You know what I'm saying? So they probably the ones that's getting like more of the money because we know their names.
Right.
Until you make a name for yourself, and now you at the end of the DVD. Now everything's just off the ropes because it's like you don't have to make a name for yourself. Like sex is so valuable nowadays. You just got to be out here doing it, and you'll never know. You could wake up tomorrow. Damn, I made $30,000 last night. Wasn't nobody even following me. Now I got 100,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, all it takes is for one person to see something that they like.
You know, I think now
I'm starting to change my.
I think
money
sex,
gonna stay number. Money gonna stay number one, but
yeah, but
sex is a little.
Sex became so valuable. Well, I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this because it's literally like a recycling. It's a cycle, a repeating cycle over and over and over, and it can go forwards or backwards. Because it's like, yes, sex is a valuable thing because it's supposed to be something very sentimental between you and another, especially for somebody you planned on being with for long term. That was the basics of that. That's where it started
before you start putting all the extra stuff in. Yeah.
Now it's just like it still should be that way.
It's not.
But at the same time, it became so valuable because everybody feels like I have to do this, I got to do that, I got to have a body count, and that's coming from male and females.
Yeah.
But now to a point that it's become so valuable in that way, to a point it's invaluable. If you get what I'm saying, it's like it's no longer something special because it's just like, all right, cool.
I feel like it is though.
Shit, what stood out to me, I seen the podcast when they was talking to Brittany Renner.
Right.
And the dude said it. He was like, you're nothing special. Why? Because just like I'm nothing special because it is like you want this, you want to get that, just like how you want to get this, I want to get that, such and such. And it was just like the middle ground was like getting like the sexual part. And it's just like, it's true. It's just giving out so damn much. Like people want it because it's a hot thing, but at the same time, it's no longer valuable because everybody's.
No, she's still special regardless. Like he can sit there and say that all he wants to. She got NBA niggas paying to have sex with her. That's special. Like you can. He might not like it, and
yeah, I mean, yes, the
cliche
NBA
that you use
paying to have sex, but at the same time, if shit was to go awry, the NBA player could be like, you know what? There are others that I can get, and especially all it takes is for me to see somebody better than you, or whatever.
But it's too late because like she already had a kid by one of them, and now when they had a nasty breakup, and that's my man PJ Washington, shout out PJ. When they had a nasty breakup, all she gonna do is just throw him on child support. And
exactly,
now, right?
Because here's the thing, probably deep down in her as well, she probably be like, dog, like, I'm not really nothing special because what's it going to take for him to go to another one? I have to figure out how I'm going to constantly get this money.
That's special. It is.
You had to set a trap for that. You had to set a trap for that.
That's still special.
I mean, the child is special.
She's special.
But at this point,
trust me, it's a million females that have set that same trap that it ain't work for.
The fact that you have to do that in order to win, that's not special. That's just dog, I know that there's another diamond. There's another one that could do the same shit. So now I have to find a reason to still be relevant and pop up in this life.
Did he not do it?
Yeah, and that's dumb on him, to be honest.
That's special.
It's dumb on him.
That's
Or it could have been because shit, I'm not the fly on the wall, and I was neither one of the two.
Right.
It probably was special to him. Like, you know what, man? I think I want to keep you long term or whatever. Maybe because I really don't follow that shit.
Probably not.
I don't even watch ESPN for real. So
she just. I mean, you're not gonna find all their stuff on there. She just a regular. No, he made it to the league, you know, as a young baller, and he's good. Like it's different when you in the NBA, and it's different versus like when you're a good NBA player. That's all the young single niggas be doing.
Yeah,
They be hitting up these they be hitting up these Instagram models, DMing them. They be with the shits, slide them out. Now, you know beforehand, you don't have no ties to this girl. Y'all not in no relationship. You sliding in her DM because she looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
the hot commodity.
When you fly her, because she was, like you said, she was nobody before the first NBA person. So you fly her out. That's on him if he makes that conscious decision that while he's having sex with her, he's going to nut in her.
Mm-hmm. Some people do it just for the sake that they said that they did it. Or it's just part of their kink or quirk or whatever. So, like, that's what they do. What I'm saying is, though, like, again, you being a hot commodity, like, you're valuable until you're had. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're so valuable that you're invaluable. It's like money. For real. If everybody was rich or making a lot of fucking money, do you think the dollar would have any value anymore?
Probably
no.
The government, but this not that though.
The government wouldn't give a shit.
But this not that. Everybody can have sex, and sex is still valuable. Sex is not money.
My point is just at first it was so hot. It's a great thing.
It still is a great thing.
I mean, it's a great thing for the wrong reasons. But see, like I said, once you achieve that, it's like whatever. It's just like you go from $1 to a penny at this point.
But that's not what it is. You sitting right here saying it. That's your opinion. But the generation of the billions of dollars says otherwise, bro.
What made to me right now, and people who may not be wired like this anymore.
Right.
A lot of times, what made it more special or more great was the thrill of the hunt.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you actually had to work for it, and it makes it's more appreciated. Appreciated. I wanted to say appreciative and appreciated at the same time, but you appreciate it more because you worked for it and everything like that. Just like, when how they say like it'll be a lot more better if we just wait, because it's like you're anticipating it. You got this build up emotionally and mentally for it.
That's true. Yeah.
So that happens. Now it's just kind of like damn near like just giving out. Like,
but you know why? And I like to tie back in other podcasts that we did. So a long time ago, me, you, and Mike, we sat in this basement and we did the looks versus personality thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the basis of that podcast was that you were going to have first dibs at the most attractive girls at the mall because we felt like you had the looks versus us just having the personality.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is somebody, I don't know if it was the powers that be or anybody with some type of high ranking amongst the world, they probably felt the same way. And it was like, yo, I should be getting like a lot of these bad females, but I cannot score for some reason. You know what? Maybe if I set something in place to make it seem like all the bad bitches need to be after money, then it opens the door for people with money instead of just people with looks. Because now, in my opinion, I feel like if that's the route that you take, I feel like everybody is winning. Obviously not in a good way, but I feel like everybody is winning because it's like,
within those two scenarios, it's a one or the other type of thing. It doesn't seem balanced at all.
It's not. Because the thing is,
it's literally just leaving from one side going to the other.
The thing is, it was balanced, but now, once, I don't know, I'm going to speak on the female's behalf. Once the females see like, wow, it's really easy to be out here just screwing around niggas for money. That's what messed the balance up. Because now, you don't give a fuck about what nobody look like. As long as you can walk out that door and you got a couple G's.
You don't give a fuck how people act.
That too. Because you're getting, I don't keep up with the latest fashion, so excuse me. I'm just going to say she's getting the latest bag.
Mm-hmm.
the latest heels, getting flown out to Cancun or wherever the hot spot is right now. And all they're doing is either looking good with somebody or having sex with them. And of course, when this era first started, everybody had the fake morals and all. Oh yeah, I'm not being flown out for nothing like that. And then I never forget when I was I had just graduated, so I was like 18. Maybe I might have been 19. I think I was 19 because I was in a relationship, so I couldn't take the advice. All I could do was listen. It was a dude around here. His name was Ricardo, and he was like 10 years older than what we were. So when I was 19, he was like 29. And he used to tell us, we used to be right outside Mike's house. This is before Mike even, we used to be right outside Mike's house in a little group. And he used to pull up, and he used to bring us like chicken and food and stuff like that. And he used to like tell us stories and advice and stuff like that about females. And he said this a long time ago, and he was like, when it comes to like females, they want niggas that look good, but if you offer them everything else without the looks, they'll take that too. Because he felt like he was like one of them type of dudes, that he didn't have the looks. But because he brought everything else to the table, he used to have the fresh clothes, he had a car, his family was kind of like well off, so he had money, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't like arrogant or cocky. Like I said, he used to bring us food off the humble. Like, he wasn't just taking females out. He would look out for everybody. So he had a nice personality, you know what I'm saying? And that was just like, he's like, if you bring that to the table, that'll be enough. And that's all it is now. It's like everything's been corrupted. So it's like, if you bring in the money to the table, they gonna roll. Because life done beat people up. Maybe 10 years ago, females had more of a morale. But 10 years later, when you've been working for the last 10 years, now it's starting to set in and dawn on you like, damn, I can't retire till I'm 67.
I don't think a lot of these females out here was hurting that damn much to just go.
You don't have to.
I don't.
You looking at the long.
How old
are you right now?
30.
To be honest with you,
I don't even think there's a lot of them that even tried. It was just like, all right, well,
why would you? You don't have to no more.
To me, to me, that's just like asking to be brainwashed to a degree.
And it's convenient, so why not? Every podcast that we done, not every podcast, because we don't talk about females every podcast. Every podcast that we've done on the premises of like females and talking about them being accountable. What's one thing that we always say? It's a lack thereof, right?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I wouldn't even be mad if I was talking to a female and I'm dating her. And we've been dating for like let's throw some lengthy shit on it. Let's say we've been dating for 6-7 years. I'm thinking about marrying this chick and everything. I'm setting up a surprise proposal, this and that. We got a routine of living. We both working in career fields and yada yada yada. And let's say, because social media done this technically, so this wouldn't be a fabrication. Social media has blurred the line between like regular people and celebrities. You can interact with celebrities way more nowadays than you ever could.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let's say a celebrity slide in my girl DM. Yo, I can take you away from all that. You'll never have to work again. You know what I'm saying? I can give you like a life that you never had. You traveling area, but
and she gone.
Exactly. And I can't even be mad at that because it's like, bro, I don't want to, me personally as the dude, I'm 33. I don't want to work for another 30 years. Yeah, so I'm not mad at
more often than not. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
That's and
ain't
unless you got that rare breed that's just gonna be like, nah, I'm good. Nah.
But I'm nowadays I'm not expecting that. I'm not gonna kick my hopes up. So
and it's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's that brainwashing shit.
Yeah, but I'm not. You can't. I'm not gonna hate the player. I just hate the game. Like that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, most definitely. Because it's just it's the matter of, you know, there's people who don't give a fuck about that kind of like the moral shit, and then
No.
and then sometimes the women don't know what's happening to them, or they're just like, you know what, easy way out. It's just like it's a form of manipulation.
No, that's the easy way out. That's
Yeah.
it's no better way to describe it
But
than
the bribery is always the form of manipulation type of shit, and so of course they're most of them are going to, and I have to say most because I do believe there's definitely those who don't, but that are definitely going to go for it. And
I'll give you 8 out of 10.
It's that it's just a brainwashing kind of thing, and like also when it comes to accountability for real, a lot of this has happened because we lacked on that. We just made it so simple for certain things to exist, or
Right.
we just didn't care to just like try to change that or whatever. And there's other things that factor into it as well, like the law, or just, you know, social idealism. Like, you know, I mean, that's a woman, so that, you know, they should be able to get away with this, you know, because that's just how we feel type of shit or whatever.
Right.
It's what I call negative reinforcement, because it's just like dealing with a kid. You know, the kid going around being an ass, but it's just like they don't receive the type of reprimand that teaches them not to do that, and that's what happens with women. To them, it's, we're not going to fix something that's not broke,
Right.
but it's not broken because we made it that way.
No, it's broken, but
I mean,
it doesn't.
well, I want to say because this is where men got to take accountability too. We made it so easy for that to be the thing.
No, the niggas with money made it so easy for that to be a thing.
For everybody, niggas with good looks, niggas with money or popularity, because popularity is becoming a currency as well.
Yeah.
So it's just like whatever it is that the female finds that they want to have, that's not really sentimental at all. It's just out of bounds at the moral. They're gonna go for that, and so now at first it was just like, I have to find something that female wants, and we have to introduce that to them, and then we found out that it works. We found out that bait works. It went from that to just growing into now women are recruited that way because they're exposed to that. At this point, it didn't even have to be that a man would go and introduce that to the female.
Right.
It's just like, well, now I'm pretty, or well, they're pretty, and that's all it took. And I feel that I'm pretty, so I should be able to get the same shit. So it's just like, the idealism comes in again. So it's just like,
Right.
now it doesn't even have to be, I didn't even have to step out and for my journey that way to be introduced or have received the first offer. No, all right, I feel that I deserve that.
Right.
So now I want to
that's
go
the entitlement. Yeah.
So they're being recruited that way. We have to take responsibility as men all the time. And I used to say this all the time going to the club. I seen my mans go through like some odd ass situations with females that he met at the club. And that's why, like, at first I was just like, damn, bro, like, he, like, the momentum of the conversation and fellowship kind of changed when a female's around, because I've actually seen females like do the most, try to be disrespectful and all this other stuff.
Right.
They were acting like groupies for my mans.
Right.
And I'm just like, bruh, first and foremost, he probably wouldn't have came if I had decided not to come because he wants to hang out with his homie. Secondly, it's just like, dog, you don't even have to do that. Like, you're exerting the fuck out of yourself and making yourself look hella retarded to me. So while you probably think that, oh, well, yeah, I can do this towards you because of whatever value I believe you have, first and foremost, you don't know what value he has. You just know what you see. And secondly, like, you're just doing so much. So the point was, I was able to see how fucked up the situation was because now I have more time to observe because I'm not part of it.
Right.
So it's more silent, it's more peaceful and quiet for me to see certain shit. And it was a regret after regret after regret after regret. And
Mm-hmm.
then it was just like, now I don't even have to see my mans go through any problems anymore. I'm just like, already seen it for what it is. Like I said, you just have, when you have more time to yourself, you have more time to observe and think
Right.
and make sense of shit. So I was just like, bruh, like, there's the niggas who can get somebody and the niggas who can't. And I've hung out with both.
Okay.
Or feel like they gotta do the most. They're desperately trying to get the female. And it's just like, bruh, there's these females that walk around with the shittiest fucking attitude. And you wanna know why they do it? Because it works. It's an empowerment. It's a currency for them where they literally think, and this is how they're able to play these games. They came up with these games based off of what works against us. Because it's like, yo, like, for real, I don't even give a fuck about niggas. In fact, I'm not even attracted to niggas. But in order for me to feel great, I want to see how much attention I can draw.
Right.
So it's shit like that. Women will play mind games. And the only reason why they're able to play mind games is because we just either we haven't figured it out or we don't care to go against it for real. We just make it simple for them. Like, all right, I'll play that game with you.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm saying?
Because a nigga might feel like it's easy for him to beat that game.
Some.
Yeah. Oh
Some.
no, they gonna work.
And then
it ain't gonna work for everybody.
and then to those it's just like, well, look, man, I got the ass. Like that's
Right.
all I really want. So it's
Right.
like, so you feel like you're winning, but here's the thing. Now we're just encouraging that shit. We're talking about we want women to be held accountable. We want them to take accountability. They don't want to admit to a lot of shit that they're doing, but it's always another nigga out there that's going to fucking encourage that shit. That's why
Right.
women just do the shit that they do.
Right.
Like, if they fucking cheat or whatever, I don't give a fuck. I ain't got to admit to it. Oh, I'm still good. Blah, 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 blah. Or I need to get money. I deserve this, and this, and this. You want
Right.
to know why? Because it's going to be somebody that's going to give it to them without consideration of holding them accountable for shit.
Right.
Why? Why should I give you this?
Sex.
That's why I say. That's why I said that
the
that
longer-
valuable thing is so fucking valuable in the wrong way now that it became invaluable.
But you just can't say it's invaluable though, because it's like you said, like look at everything you just described.
At first, it came to a difficulty. There was still a challenge because you would either have to acquire a lot of money to get it. Now, like I said,
Yeah.
you gotta you're looking good. At
Yeah.
first, there
Or
was
you
the
said
time.
or you said
There
the
was
pop
the time
liquor.
that you just physically you look good, and I want it. Then that kind of fade in and out for quite some time. Then it was just the money thing, and then money thing, and that still happened in olden times. But I
Right.
believe that's what came second.
Okay.
Then is happening now, where the challenges is you always got to do something. You got to challenge yourself and make yourself better in some way, form, or fashion. Unless you want to be a dealer or whatever the case may be. Then you had to put yourself through the challenges to acquire that money. Now it's popularity and shit like that. You're making a name for yourself. Now there's like, I've seen women, they be like, Jug, just to shut you up or be able to shoot you off of your pedestal or something like that, I can bag you too. If the thing is, if you was to challenge a fucking female, for those, the real women that are really worth going after, at least to a certain degree, they are going to go for those who challenge them. You want to know why? Because it fucks with their ego. Women are very egotistical.
Right, but that ain't the basis of like the conversation. Like niggas, a nigga's not going to do like a deep dive when it comes to a female on whether she's a good female or not. Like we've talked about that plenty of times. Like you might go into it like, she seems like she's decent.
If I had a bag that was going to work for me, it would be just the fact of challenging a female. Now this I wouldn't say that this is my bag now, because this is just naturally who I am.
Right.
I'm observant that way, and I'm a free thinker, if you will. So it's just like, why should I spend all this time on you? Like, what are you showing me that really makes me think? Unless you're really like showing me something that was like, yeah, I actually want to see myself with you long term, so I'm gonna make that my mission, which doesn't really happen all the time. So if you're sitting there like, yeah, why should I give you my energy? Why should I give you my attention? Why? And to be honest with you, when it came to the last girl I dealt with, that's kind of like how it worked. When I first met the last girl I dealt with, it actually happened the first time I met her, I ain't give a fuck. I was just like, yo, I'd be better off not seeing her again. And I told my friend that. I
Okay.
said, look, I understand me. We just got canceled or beef or whatever, and the momentum is probably we had intentions of hanging out like the old homies we used to be again. But here's the thing: I understand you're a grown man, and that's somebody new in your life, and you met them during that time period that we were not communicating. You can do what you want to do, bro. And I'm not saying this with any hardship or anything. I'm just allowing you the free will to do what you want to do. If that was going to be your friend, and you want to hang out with me, I respectfully ask you this: don't bring her around me. Because after the first time I met her, I don't want to deal with it. And I've dealt with females like that she reminded me of somebody else that I seen just turn sour as well. So it's just like, I've been there, done that, don't got time for it, and I really don't want to continue to, exert my energy off of that. So when our first interaction was, she thought I ain't say hi to her. When I said hello, I looked at both of them. She was sitting in the front seat. I guess she was so into her phone or whatever, and she just basically had this "I'm this pretty girl" mentality. And so it was like, had you known, had you looked around, turned around, or acknowledged, you probably would have known that I was saying hello to you as well. So that's where she felt like she had this attitude with, and I didn't hear her say hello either. So she said hello to me first, and I didn't say it back to her. Whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you're used to. The point was, it was just like, okay, I seen Shorty. When I first seen her, she was on crutches because an incident happened with her and another male and a female that was involved and all this other stuff. But when she was getting out the car, like I seen that she had like super short shorts on and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh, of course. And so, in hindsight, when she brought up other males as well, this was a thing that worked. The lack of attention. Because you probably walked out of, I'm good looking. Yeah, you are. You definitely are. Your shit could be torched. But so what? Like, why? Why should I spend my time? Like, who are you? Because the thing is, though, like me, if I'm going for something, chances is I'm going for something long term. So it's just like, bro, like, this shit could wear off quick. It can go sour quick. If this is the advantage you have, then that means you're going to run me all day, every day. No. Like,
Yeah,
why should
like
I give you my time? Why should I be
but like you
putting
said though,
money into
even
any of this or whatever?
like you said though, even if you choose not to do that, it's just gonna be other dudes. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
really not
And that's
gonna
why I
make
say that's that negative reinforcement, that encouragement. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always going to happen. We can't be out here talking about women being held accountable when that shit's happening.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like we literally have the lack of self-control.
I don't even think it's the lack of self control. I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to there's a structure in place, and of course, obviously, we like to go against the grain. We understand things are set up a certain way. We know that in order to make things right, things will have to happen in the opposite turn. But after so much time goes past, people just come to the conclusion like, yo, it's just a game. We got to play it. And that's what's going on right now.
I just think a lot of people get impatient. And so it just comes to this. Just like
but,
how women say, we're going to do what works because it works.
Right.
Men are the same way. It works. Well, since I wasn't getting it this way, I'm just going to kind of like expedite the process with this.
And you can't be mad at somebody for that.
Nah, I mean, no, you can't be mad at them for that. If that's how you want to get it, that's the type of relationship you build off of, then fine. I mean, that's you.
Yeah,
the thing is, though, when it came to like the accountability thing, we can't really say that because it's just like part of this is our fault.
I mean, it depends because it's like if you're talking about us specifically, I don't feel like it is. Like, I feel like everything starts from the top, and then it trickles down. Because if people at the top were doing things in a more structured and moral way, then regular people are going to look at them and be like, oh, okay, well, they chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, maybe that ain't the wave. But they're the ones that's preaching get what you can get out of somebody, whether it be looks or whether it be money or whether, like you said, whether it's popularity, like you said, the new form of currency. Like clout, like whether you can get whatever you can get, go get it.
It's so easy to do that now. simply because that's just how people was before, like the social media and shit like that. Like, and it got all the more easier with social media because of that shit
Yeah,
existed.
and
from the
because
top.
it's a lot. It's we done multiplied like the options. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it's just like without social media, it would be something like, all right, if you go to the mall, I don't know how often you would go to the mall. You go to the mall like twice a month. However many females you see at the mall, them 2 times in that month, that's how many females you will probably be had a chance of going smack at, assuming that you're not in school, because then that changes everything. You around a bunch of females every day. But if you out of school, then it's like that's all you're gonna see for that month. Versus, I don't know, everybody's situation is different. Whether people working a lot in one day, they work 70 hours a week, 20 hours. If it's somebody that's well off and that's not really working, you could spend 2-3 hours on Instagram today and slide into like 100 girls' DMs, and then ain't no telling how many you gonna do tomorrow, the day after that. Like it's not gonna get no better unless money just falls completely off, which we know it's not gonna do.
No.
So it's like at the
At
end,
least not for now, because how they trying to redo currency is it's
not-
different.
I will have to see it to believe it, because everybody, I know we with the crypto and all that type of stuff, but the stuff, something new comes out, it's gonna be the next smoking thing, then it falls off, and then we're back to the dollars.
Yeah,
You
man.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
So
there's it's we're creatures by fad and things that trend.
so as long as when it comes to females and males, if females are out here pressing for money or whatever they pressing for, as long as there's a plethora of dudes that's out here playing the game, this is just going to be the game. Like it's sad to say, but that's just the reality of it. So like I said with the story, like if I was in a relationship for that lengthy time, I'm thinking about getting married, we done built this platform in
And
this
I was gonna
life.
say that's why people's relationships is fucked up.
It's true.
Like,
No, that's true.
Because it's
No, that's very true. But at the end of the day, you gotta think, like, you gotta understand how people thinking. Like people on some survival type shit. Cause like I said,
really, is it survival or is it because of based off of want? Because it's something that they want to achieve.
well, a little bit of both probably. Cause like you gotta understand, like I said,
It's just
nobody wants to work for the next 40 years. So if you want to look for an opportunity to be financially stable, especially with
I don't
like
know, that just like kind of deprives you of like that's not helpful at all. Like how it's said. Damn, there was an old analogy that I was about to say, and it just literally slipped away from me. But the thing is, it's like you could. It was one of them Bible joints. Really, it's just like one thing. If you opposed to bringing a man a fish and teaching him how to fish, there's a difference.
Yeah.
So, like, first and foremost, I don't care if a woman. I mean, it would seem unorthodox for me to say I don't care if a woman was to present me a lot of money. And to be real, I would be curious of like, what's the catch? What's this? Blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I'm like, depending on my living habits or whatever and how long I live or whatever is presented to me in life, that money can run out really quick. Or shit, it can get just shut the fuck off.
it depends.
I want to know how to make that kind of money, shorty, that you got. I want to know your real secrets. Like, how can I produce more of this? You know what I'm saying? So
that's you.
I mean,
you're probably like a needle in a haystack, bro.
well, and then see the thing. Well,
And at the end of the day,
it's going
and at the end
to
of the
be
day-
a needle in a haystack for a lot of people. Because here's the thing, especially for women. If you are going based off of your looks, if your looks is the only thing that's really helping you accumulate this money, and that shit goes, what the fuck else are you going to do?
It doesn't matter. You got the money. You already got the money. You don't need
And you're gonna have to spend that money very carefully for the rest of your life.
You could go buy land and that's a wrap. It's not.
Some people don't know that. Especially women. A lot of women don't know that. You know what the first thing they'll do is, I'll buy a mansion and shit like this and blah blah.
That's
blah,
good
blah,
enough
blah,
too.
And go.
That's good enough too.
Then you still gotta buy food, whatever the thing is. Now, buying land is one of the best lucrative things you could do because that's yours. You can do whatever you want on it and still produce for yourself. That's like able to accumulate everything else that you need in life. But if you're just like, I'm just so used to purchasing everything, that money can go.
Bro, you can rebuttal every point that you want to rebuttal. The point is to be in that position to lose the money versus not having the money at all. Be logical with me here. Be logical. Mm-hmm. What do you think people going to do? It doesn't. I would take my chances on blowing $1 million versus not having it and trying to learn how to make it. And if you say otherwise, you either stunting for this podcast, or there's no.
Because here's the thing, I know that money could burn a hole in my pocket as well.
It doesn't matter.
I need to know how to.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Like, in fact,
that's something. So
in fact, I'm living that way now.
So you're gonna look at me in my eyes right now and tell me you would turn down $1 million because money burn a hole in your pocket. You would. I don't know. I'm not gonna say
if I don't know how to accumulate it, more of it later, I would have to. Yes.
That's a lot, bro.
I would have to.
If somebody offer you $1 million right now, I know you want to turn it down.
Well,
bro.
right now I wouldn't.
That's not keeping it real.
Right now I wouldn't. You want to know why? Because I know how to accumulate and invest, and need to accumulate more of it.
Not $1 million.
But if I know, like, just considering as a deep thinker now, however long I might live and everything, and I know I could be expensive if just because the fact that it's available to me, I'm gonna spend the shit out of it, especially on shit I probably won't even use for 2 years or whatever. Like, after a few months, it probably might be just done. It's just a waste of money. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm.
No way.
And
you turn down
in fact, that's how
bro.
I'm living now. I'm financially capable of doing things, but I gotta hold myself responsible. Just like now, people, like, I got friends and family that are like, yeah, why don't you come on this trip? And it's just like, yeah, you know what? I can afford to do that. I can afford to do it because I can pay for it right away. But here's the thing. I don't want to do it because now it's just like, how am I going to get that money back? Especially if I want to get it back in a certain amount of time. How am I going to get that back? Like, right now, I don't feel like I'm comfortable enough to go ahead and drop the $1,400 to the $2,000 just like that, because just as easy as it is for it to go, it's not necessarily as easy for it to come back. No, I want to be able to. I'm like, yeah, I want to know what's coming back to me, especially in a certain time frame.
Yeah,
I want to know that it's going to come back.
You saying this with $1,400, but you would turn down $1 million? Like. I ain't gonna hold you. Anything you say for the rest of this podcast, I probably don't even believe you, bro. Because I ain't gonna hold you. You jive like this.
You know, if
you're not being real, bro.
If I'm not thinking logically, you know what I would do if I was a very not rational thinker the way I am now. You know what I would have done?
No.
Buy shit that I know for a fact because I got the power to do so. And then it's just like, I'm just buying a bunch of shit and that money could go quick because I'm not paying attention to it. I'm like, yo, it's just easy for me to just do this now.
Being rational with a couple grand versus being rational with $1 million is two different things.
I'm not going to be rational. You want to know why? Because, like I said, like
hold on. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this last question. Let me ask you this last question, and then I'll let you say anything you want. Let me ask you this last question. So, out of all the podcasts we did, I think this is like number 83, 84. All the times you done got on this podcast, and you've been talking about financial literacy, investing, and all this type of stuff. Now you're gonna get on this podcast and say that you would be scared to have $1 million. So that you're either lying about this or you've been lying about everything you've been saying on this podcast with like the old past year and a half.
For it to be handed to me like that, yes. That's why I said, like, you remember how I said earlier on in the podcast, if you work for it and go through the challenges for it, you appreciate it more. I'm not going to appreciate that. I'm not. Because it just easily came to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's going to play for me, it'll play a bit of a trick on me. It was just like, just as easy as it came to me, I can just get it again. You know,
and you wouldn't do nothing responsible with it at all.
Well, now, yes.
That's all I was. That's
Yeah,
what I was saying.
I would try to. I would try to.
So you wouldn't buy no land. You wouldn't buy no land.
But there is a degree right now that, especially when it comes to financial literacy, there's still so much more shit for me to learn. I'm just now really trying to teach myself to be financially responsible again, because when I mentioned the $2,000, it's tough.
What you gonna spend?
I mentioned the $2,000.
What are you gonna blow $1 million on?
See, anything, because I can get anything with it. That's the
like
problem.
what?
That's the problem.
So,
Cars, house, shit. I probably don't even fucking need. Buying a house that probably won't even serve me no good. Besides the fact that I just live in it.
I mean, if you buy if you buy a mansion or something, then the mansion is gonna be good.
When I buy land and build my house on that, that's still my land, because that land though is gonna be able to help me produce more. I'm gonna put greenhouses on that motherfucker. One, because that's food for me to eat and shit, possibly food for me to sell.
You saying all of this, but you wouldn't take the $1 million. That's why I'm confused. Like
right now,
you giving me all
right
these
now,
plans, but you wouldn't.
If it's gonna happen to me, it's gonna happen to me through my work. It's gonna have to. That proves right there that I deserved it. Right now, I may not even fucking deserve it. I might not. If I was to win the lottery, I still would kind of question that. I'm like, damn, all I had to do was buy a ticket. Yes, it's so easy, and I still would be leery at that.
That's random.
Like,
that's random. I'm talking about a person specifically approaching you. They feel like you deserve it.
Depending on how I got it. Now, if it's like, if they felt like I deserved it because, like, yeah, man, you're such a hard worker, this, and this, and I respect that or whatever, even then I would still kind of be reluctant, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what, I appreciate that you recognize it, and this is why you're giving it to me. I would be more at peace with that than people just like, yeah, here, something simple. Oh, you look good. Let me give you this. Like, it just scares me.
You wouldn't take that.
I believe in karma too fucking much.
What karma?
And I've achieved good things and lost good things. Like that balance there, that taught me shit. So it's just like, dog, like, if I was to lose one thing, right, I know I could possibly get it again because I achieved it through my work. That I've proven to myself I could work for that. So I know I deserve that.
But what you're talking about is probably little things or obtainable things. You mean to tell me, however long it takes you, you're already 30, however long it takes you to grind to $1 million, and I don't know what age that could possibly be, when you spend that, you're going to be quite sure how to get it again, versus rather just taking it, receiving it, whether it be as a gift or, I don't know what you say, looks. Like a person think you look good, or a person think like, oh, hey, you're a hard worker. You know, I've been watching you do this and do that, personal trainer, nutritionist. Yo, we need to look out for black people here. Or, like I said, the looks thing. Maybe it's an older female, she's attracted to you, blah, blah, blah. You going to turn, like, bro, like, the karma in that, with that, you would get bad karma for turning that down. Probably
the second part, yes, I'm always going to be leery of, because it's I can't help but.
What's the second part? The looks, or
the looks part, like, just why, like, why? Now, if it comes to like, yo, you're a hard worker or whatever, or we need to look out for black people, I would feel more inclined to take it a lot easier than the second one, because it's like, now at this point, I do believe that this person believes that I'm gonna be responsible with it. He expects me to do something better with it, like something that's gonna expand long term. Like, for example, yeah, we need to look out for black people. You're gonna do something that's gonna look out for other black people, because now you have the finances to do that.
He's giving you the money. That's looking out for you.
So with that, I would feel more inclined to take it, especially now because I have the knowledge to do something with it. Now, before who I was today,
so you don't have.
I would definitely be afraid to do that, because I wouldn't know what to do besides do stupid shit.
So if somebody says you look good, you're not going to have the knowledge to know how to spend the money. But because somebody says you're working hard, you're going to magically have that same. Now you're going to have the knowledge to know how to spend the money. That's what you just said.
Yeah, because I gained knowledge from working hard. I gained the knowledge from working hard and actually going to do and you know, having more resources to, you know, deepen that knowledge, opposed to me just looking good. I mean, I looked good before, and then that's all I cared about. And so at that point, why would I feel inclined to work or learn anything?
You do
if
know,
all I got to do is exist.
You do know, like 90% of millionaires and billionaires got $1 million without knowing how to get it or knowing how to maintain it, right? You do know that's how life works, right?
I mean, for
when you get your first million, when you get your first million,
some people, but once you make all people, I'm not them though.
No, yes, you're gonna be them. When you make your first $1 million, you're going to fall right into that category because you wasn't unless you was born. The only people that's any different is the people that was born into
by
millions.
a matter of opinion and perception from other people. Yes, I'm gonna fall in that category because they
you wasn't
say so.
No, it's not. We proven it. Listen, the only people that's going to be different are the millionaire. If you're a millionaire and you had a kid and he's born into millions, they go into a different category. For you, because you had to work for your million, you're going to go into that category of people who had to work for their million.
I have a weird example for you when I say this. But, so I'm going to ask you this question. If all I had to do was just walk out of my front door and exist, and that brings me money, do you think I'm going to learn how to use it? Or am I just...
could. Why couldn't you learn how to do it?
Or learn how to gain it or learn how to be responsible with it?
Why couldn't you?
I mean, you can.
Right. Exactly.
But what is the chances of somebody doing that?
That's up to the person.
Just like how you say it's so easy for women or men to obtain this, and this. They're using that because it's easy, it's simple, and it's accessible to
It's
them.
not $1 million. It's not $1 million. I can tell you it's not $1 million.
They're not going to try to challenge themselves for it because it's just there.
That's on them.
Exactly. So
you're sitting here.
Now, I'm not saying that nobody would do that,
right?
But there's a very small amount of people that would.
And you're one of those people.
If that was to happen for me, I would not learn how to fucking get a job. I wouldn't care about a fucking job.
You keep flip flopping back and forth over the last 15 minutes. You keep going back and forth to the opposite end of the spectrum. You either can sound like politically correct and smart, and you keep saying the right things, and then you flip to the other side, and then you keep saying like you wouldn't know what to do, bro.
I know what to do because I had to work for it. It wasn't just given. Shit was not just given to me like that,
bro. That doesn't matter, bro. Like that should not matter in the sense.
Why shouldn't it?
Because, like, bro, you're being given. You've been working for the last 10, 12, 15 years, and you've been making money from that job. You know how to spend that money.
I did.
You had to learn, right?
I didn't have the financial literacy. It was
right.
It was coming.
Right. Exactly. There you go.
So even with that, I felt that it was easy. When you feel like something is easy, now if I could do that from working for it, imagine how I would feel not having to work for it and it's still just coming just that easy. Oh, I don't gotta do shit. I don't gotta leave my bed.
It gets like that.
So, okay, now if I could feel like that working, just imagine how worse it would have been. Just like when I brought up the whole $2,000 thing. I feel like I could go buck wild with $2,000. Imagine what I would do with $1 million. I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm responsible. I could be or could not be. But I'll find that out when that day comes to me because my intentions is to do whatever I got to deserve it and earn it. But right now, if I was just to receive this right now, there's still a part of me that would be like, oh, man, that was pretty easy, man. You going to really tell yourself 100% that you're not going to splurge? I still kind of do that now.
You can splurge.
I still do that
it's
now.
$1 million. You can splurge.
And I quote unquote, this is going to sound weird, but I quote unquote try to splurge responsibly. It's still splurging. Knowing that I know money has a capability of burning a hole in my pocket because it's just like, I got it. It's just easy. That's why I'm also still trying to continue to teach myself financial literacy. Because the thing is, though, we can spend all day. But how am I getting that back? What am I doing? It's
not that. That's not the problem. Is what you've been saying is you would say that, and that's your reasoning for turning down the money. That's the part that just makes no absolute sense at all. It's nothing you can really say that's going to sound logical and being like, because I wouldn't know what to do with it, I'm going to turn down $1 million.
If I'm not going to do anything great with it besides just spend it.
So somebody give you $1 million.
There's gonna be a part of me that's gonna I'm gonna feel bad about that because like as well as wealthy I could be, life could just randomly turn around. I can be the opposite of that.
Right. So
and be like, damn, I wish I did this. Like I don't want to leave that as a possibility.
That's the thing. Is like you sitting here as regular Mark, all you do is talk about buying land, investing, starting businesses, opening gyms, and all of that. And then when somebody comes along to give you the money to do all of that, then you're gonna get amnesia. That doesn't, bro. I just, when we drop this pod, I really want you to listen back to this, like with an open mind, and it just doesn't make sense.
I get what you're saying. Yes, and that's still the stuff that I would like to do, and that could happen. But
so when you get the money to make it happen, you're gonna forget what you want to do.
But to be 100% with you, I'm not gonna totally say that there is not a part of me that would still want to splurge and just spend money.
It's $1 million. Do it. It's amazing, bro. I don't have specific numbers, and I'm assuming you're not just going to be a one-off gym person. You probably want like a chain, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'm building a
different
franchise.
Gyms, a franchise, right? So you probably start off. You could build like maybe 5. Once that 5 starts generating money, you take money from that, and you won't even have to spend your money to build gyms anymore. You're gonna buy your land. Where you gonna go? Down south?
I'll probably have to, more than likely.
Yeah, you're gonna go down south where the land is cheaper. Well, at least so we hear. I'm not too familiar with the land down south, but I hear
the economy's fucked. So yeah, you definitely have to be wise with it.
Okay, so that's actually kind of scary then. So I'm gonna assume because
that's why it's so cheap.
That's not good then. People make it seem like this is just normally cheap. So it's not cheap before
there's always a catch for shit like that. Just like how, the money, you got to spend more money to live out in California.
Right.
Because the wages is just like that.
It's higher.
There's a reason for it being so cheap down because the economy is fucked.
But nobody says like, hey, well, Cali would just be overtaxing. Like, that's a normal thing that Cali's expensive.
Yeah, because
people made it seem like
they can do that. They're paying the people to be able to live that way.
But people make it seem like the South is just like like no pandemic, nothing going on. The South is cheap. That's how people talk.
It might be a little better than what it used to be, but the economy is fucked.
I don't know. Like I said, I was just because every time somebody talks about money, they mention moving down south. So that's why I just threw that out there first.
It's kind of like the.
Is that a problem? Is that why the economy is fucked? Is too many people moving down there, or
it could be. I just know that at a point in time when I used to like learn about the financial situations out there, when I first really started going down there to my aunt's house and shit like that, I found out that the economy was shit.
Okay.
And because there's nice houses and everything, and it's great.
I see, yeah.
But it's always a benefit to own your land as well.
Right.
Like if you're gonna do that, like you want to own your shit. You want to own the land, the acres that this fucking house is on.
Right.
But the economy is like it's trashed out there. It's nice houses for cheap because the thing is, the people that live in it. Like if you was to just like kind of do it like how it is in PG or California, these people are gonna suffer. They're definitely going to fucking suffer. But I believe also a lot of people like to go down there because it's just like there's more leniency now somewhat with laws. But on top of that, it's like going to New York. Rappers and shit like that happen there. Strippers happen like there. It's kind of like almost the opportunity. The rate of opportunity somewhat
It has to be cheaper.
Is inclining to.
It has to be cheaper than New York though, because New York is on.
It definitely
Cali
is.
level.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
New York could be ridiculous.
All right, so you move. I'm not gonna say you moving down south. You're gonna buy land down south. I don't know where you might move to. You got $1 million. You might want to go to LA. I don't know. You might be a superstar. Personal trainer, might get you a little gym in Hollywood. I don't know.
If I make it that big, like that out in California or whatever, I mean, shit, that's great. I don't know about living out there though. It might be too much.
I'm just saying
open the bustle for me.
I'm just saying open the gym. Like I wanted to live in Cali, but then it's a lot of nuances, like you said that.
Yeah, some places are just good for visiting and just to have fun
and do business and then come on back home. But I say that to say like everybody talks about moving down south. North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Louisiana, wherever. So that's why I brought that up first. So you buy your acres of land.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many acres of land you want. Let's just throw out 100. Because I know a long time ago you talked about a farm, which is something I would want to do too.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about greenhouses. You're going to have, obviously, you're going to get a house built. That's going to be a nice house. And whatever else you decide to do, let's just say 100 acres of land. Now, I haven't looked at land since the pandemic started, so I don't know what acres are going for. Down south, 100 acres of land before the pandemic probably was somewhere between maybe $100,000 to $200,000. So you put that to the side, and you're gonna have to put in a little bit more to actually get the house built. So all that to say, like, you're probably gonna spend half of the million for stuff that you need to spend it on. But once you spend that, everything else is going to be taken care of. Because once your gyms open up, that's going to be your money. I mean, you might want to hold off on the LA. You might want to hold off on the LA one, because then you might have to spend a little bit more money. But no, all I'm saying is, like, whether you want to invest, you might want to start up another company or something, or you want to put $300,000 in the bank. You're still going to have a couple of $100,000.
So
to buy you something nice. I don't know now.
So either investing or saving is always going to be like my top go-to choices, because and this is just how my life.
I'm talking about splurging.
Yeah,
I'm talking about you splurging.
I mean, splurging. Yeah, I'm still gonna. I would buy myself nice things here and there, or
right,
whatever.
Right.
That's the case, but also I am always going to consider trying to invest first. I mean, of course, there's just self-love and affirmation or whatever you got to do to make yourself feel nice and everything like that. That's a normal thing, yes.
Okay.
But always the top go-to, and this is why I say top, because it always the money, it'll have to come back to me, because this is how my life taught me. Shit always will happen, or shit can always happen. So now the way I'm programmed is I'm always trying to prepare a cushion if it's feasible for when that shit hits the fan thing happens.
Okay.
So like now the way life had programmed me is I have to prepare for the worst as well, because things are always not going to be peaches and cream. So just as well as I could fucking get all these places, these gyms and franchises, shit could happen to it. Damages if I ain't got insurance or whatever, or if I'm paying for the insurance, shit fucking happens. Weird shit fucking happens in this world. So it's like, now I gotta prepare for that. Am I gonna rebuild it, or am I gonna just leave it as it is? Now I lost a branch or something, so it's just like you want to have something sitting. And sometimes now, like, I'm kind of afraid sometimes to save. I'm gonna save money, because what the fuck else are you gonna do? But at the same time, I'm kind of leery on the process of saving money now, because for people who are like really big into investing, they're saying like there's a chances of you losing money when you're just leaving money sitting in the bank.
Okay.
Which I didn't know that was a thing. I got taught that from somebody else who I've never met. But I was just like, damn, like I wish some like my elders would have taught me that shit. Like, if you used to save money, there's chances is that you're losing money while you're saving money in the bank. Why? Why is that? How does that work? So shit happens. There's always something that is not being taught to you right away that could have been happening to you for years, and it could fuck you over or whatever. So I'm just trying to prepare for certain shit.
Right.
So that's why I like saving and all this other stuff. Yes, I'm gonna buy stuff. Oh man, you know what?
By the way, the acres of land is $150,000.
Yeah, money. It all depends on where you get it from.
Yeah, this is Georgia.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about Georgia, so I don't know if it's good acres. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's not that's basically $1/10,000,000. So you still gonna have under 900.
And even when you buy land, you always want to consider this location.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Just like with ranchers, there's property at a certain barrier.
Right.
Like, all right, well, since my ranch is next door to the Johnsons, I still get the river. I got legislation over the river. That's part of me. That's my shit. That's my grounds. So also, and this is just like to help to try to get the best out of your land, is like if you was to go ahead and actually be able to purchase that stream or that river, this is my river.
Yeah.
Until it gets to a certain point. Then you
get
got
you a river.
something like you got electricity because of the water flow. Like if you got a water
Yeah,
wheel,
get you some,
a
get you some,
watershed and shit.
get you the little solar panels to go.
Yeah, like see what your land got, or the land is what you make it. That's why I said greenhousing and shit like that. If you got the space for do
So
this, and,
are you going to use 100 acres of land? Because that's a lot.
Um,
When I look at this, that's a lot of land.
I really would have to do something for it, but my imagination is not that big right now. I really see. I'm a person that goes based off of actually being there, seeing it.
Okay.
I'm by the eye, so I gotta stand there and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna put my greenhouse here or whatever. I'm gonna do this here. I'm gonna put an outhouse here and a well here or whatever. If I'm by the water and I actually got the leeway to the water and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try to make everything work, preparing for the worst or the best. So 100 acres of land probably would be a bit much for me, unless
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like Stone Cold and be like, you know what, man, I'm gonna put me the Broken Skull Ranch of my own over here.
I don't even think that takes a lot. Like I don't know.
Yeah, like
I thought
I
acres.
wouldn't know exactly what to do.
I thought acres was way smaller than what I. Yeah. So I don't know what I was looking at a couple years ago.
I would have to have
You might just need 50.
a huge imagination, unless I'm gonna just because I've thought about this before, like how people did resorts or whatever. I might build many houses because there's some people who are out there that are actually being minimalists and they want to buy small houses.
Yeah.
Or they be like, okay, well, this is a whole lot of land or whatever, and there's people that travel with their houses.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey,
Well, Jones they be buying from Walmart.
yeah, and they pay for like being able to use plumbing and electricity and all this other stuff. All right, I got all the land for that. You want to park your house here? Sure. You just pay me this fee. Oh, okay, and I got you. It's just like being a landlord. So if I do get all that land and I can manage it, I'll do that.
You need a team. 100
Yeah.
acres.
Oh yeah.
100 acres is
most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely, because you got to hire people. First and foremost, is just like, look, I'm gonna pay you in order for you to help me make more money. Yeah, you're definitely gonna need a fucking thing.
That's a lot. But I say that to say, like, you would be straight with $1 million, bro. Whether you go splurge,
hoping that I'll be responsible enough.
Whether you go splurge or not, because I'm trying to like once you take care of all the business, what are you gonna have left to buy anyway besides a car? What kind of cars?
The most, if anything, and depending on how old I am or what happens to me at that age or whatever, I'm like, hey, these will go to my kids or whatever, and their college tuition. Like I said, I don't know. You can't really predict the future. You can kind of build templates of what the future may look like, but you don't know how much it'll cost you for real.
Yeah.
So
I've sat around and thought about if I was to get blessed with $1 million, what I was spending on, like to a T.
To be honest with you, like one of the first things I thought of was doing, it was just like, I want to buy my people houses. Like, yeah, I mean, my people, they said they're good where they are now, but I do know there's projects on their homes and stuff. So I'm like, you know what, I want to pay this off. I want to get you a new spot, pay this off. You got enough space or whatever, and XYZ. And if I do buy enough land, what a lot of people, big landowners who own acres of land, they keep it within their family.
Yeah. I mean,
so they
smart.
build more spots. Mm-hmm. So they can keep it in the family, and the money's still consistently coming to them. It's a treasure. It is a part of wealth. Or you're like, okay, well, I give you this piece of land, you sell it or whatever, build a greenhouse over it, build a company, and if you don't want it to be a house, boom. I just know I want to be able to give that to my folks. Because here's the thing, like my father, what's going on, especially in Jamaica right now, it's generational wealth is being built.
Right.
And so meanwhile, he's talking about giving me more generational wealth. I want to give him a generational wealth that I created.
Okay.
I want to help him. It may be helping him help me, or it could be just like I'm helping him. And I just want to do that because he wanted to help me. So it's just like while he's thinking that, I'm going to give that back to you. Like, so that's one of the first things I definitely will probably do is like buy my peoples a new home. So they won't have to really worry anymore, and they're not getting any younger.
I mean, all that kind of stuff I would assume was just once you buy the acres,
It might happen when I buy the acres, or I might just get them their own piece of land in general.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, things do happen. Things actually do grow greater in branches. You don't want to just keep everything in one spot either. If you want to really think of like taking over the world type shit, not as in controlling the world, but actually benefiting the most from it, you'll buy different pieces of land. You don't just stick to one spot.
No, we know that, but at the same time, like when it comes to your family, everybody could be in one spot. Because if you get a big ass house, 20, 30 rooms.
If I get a big ass, now my family,
Right, that's what I'm saying.
that I build, like I create and produce and all that, yes, it'll be in one spot. But if we're talking about aunts, uncles, or cousins, or father, or whatever, no, I want to put them in different spots because that could possibly make you more money. Again, it's happening within the family. You're controlling the different areas, so now that's yours. That's part of that. You bought that, so that's bringing you more wealth. Because now you're not selfish, and this is sound selfish because and it is. You're keeping somebody else from buying that. Because again, that can become money for you.
I mean, that's your family though. Like it shouldn't. It's not gonna. If you're gonna be buying spots all over the world like you're talking about, that one little spot not gonna matter.
It's a branch. It's considered a branch for you and your family.
Yeah.
So it's still a wealth to the family.
Yeah. So you shouldn't even be thinking like, damn, I could be selling this to somebody else. That makes me think like one day you're just gonna kick your family out. And
no, I'm not saying I could sell this to somebody. I said I would keep that from somebody else purchasing that.
Right.
That's why if I was to buy several different parts, it's to make it a family wealth. It's a branch.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why Dad.
We completely trailed off topic.
We definitely did, but we always do.
Yeah. So it's all good. Make sure y'all teach our people sex education, man. That's how we gonna end this.
There was no real segue for that.
Yeah.
But, there definitely.
It wasn't no way to circle back.
Just be like, yeah. So sex. Nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that part. Yeah, please just. I mean, it's they say it takes a village to raise a child. So school is a part of it. You're a part of it. Hopefully, the streets don't have to be too much of a part of it because God only knows what the streets going to produce for you to learn it.
Right.
But yeah,
nothing good.
Just
that if your kids got to learn through the streets,
it has to be a very rare. It's a very rare chance that it could be. But
yeah, if your kids got to learn through the streets, odds are it's not gonna be good. Because that's how you produce sex demons.
Yeah, don't want those. We don't need no more demons out here, man.
Yeah, we got enough of them. But we didn't even do the introduction all the way.
We didn't.
Yeah, I was just about to do the outro, and I just noticed.
Oh man, you guys, but you about to get it now.
This has been another Breaking the Narrative podcast, BTN for short. I am Teddy.
And I'm Mark Anthony.
Peace.